Man, oh man, what a way to end week 5, ladies and gentlemen. But hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Ajoe21love, back at it with sports related topics. But what a way to end week 5, overtime. What a comeback from the Ravens, being down 25-9. Come back to win overtime 31-25. But overall, a crazy and very good week 5 to the NFL season. Also, with some interesting matchups in the NCAA. We had Iowa beat ultimately Penn State, who was number 4, and Iowa number 3, now number 2. I believe Penn State dropped to number 9, I think. Also had Texas A&M, who was then unranked, Texas A&M. They upset number 1 Alabama, and they fall to number 5. Texas A&M got the upset 41-38. Um, you can only imagine what Nick Saban was saying. I mean, usually he gets hot on his players when they're up by a bunch or blowing the opposition out. But here they were down a good deficit at the half, but ultimately they came back. But it was a walk-off field goal at the end of regulation, which ultimately gave Texas A&M the victory. Good for them. But so aside from the NCAA side, now let's get right into it. The games for week 5 of the NFL season. So, sort of a steady course for my picks this week. 11-5 again. So, I mean, still, I'm able to be over 500, which is good. A few last second mishaps really changed, but still a decent job. Almost 70% of my picks in this week. You know, I try my best to try that fine line between the team that I want to win and the team that I think is going to win. So I'm trying my best to get away from that, but nonetheless, let's get into the games. So Thursday Night Football was a no newsworthy one. The Rams beat the rival Seahawks in Seattle 26-17. But what was really noteworthy, aside from a sloppy defensive battle for the majority of it, Russell Wilson suffered a tendon injury in his middle finger of his throwing hand and will be out for over a month with surgery due to his hand, finger, and they'll have to ride the wave with Geno Smith for a bit, and they got a who's who of games lined up, and which, considering in this division, the NFC West, is going to be a tough road for the Seahawks to battle through. Matthew Stafford also had a finger injury as well, but to his index finger, but he still found a way to be efficient with it. He said he just pop it back in place and still had over 300 yards passing. He did have that one pick in the end zone that looked like he was trying to throw it away. But other than that, really solid night for Matthew Stafford, and they improved to 4-1. The NFL returned to London on Sunday as the Jets faced the Falcons. The Jets flying high off that overtime victory over the Titans last week, whereas the Falcons lost that heartbreaker shootout against Washington. Was a very solid game. The Falcons were ahead 17-0, and the Jets made their comeback, but Falcons pulled away. Kyle Pitts had his first big game as a pro. 9 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. So, very solid from Pitts. When we see improvement, that's the thing I want to see with these rookie QBs, whether it's Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, etc. I mean, yes, they came in with hype, more specifically Trevor Lawrence, but despite the bad teams, you want to see improvement out of a rookie. And here we see improvement out of Zach Wilson. So for him, despite his first London trip doesn't go as planned. What also did not go as planned was the thrilling finish in Minnesota. The Vikings held on, unlike Alexander Madison at the end, but they held on at the end to win 19-17. It was 16-9 late in the game. Relatively sluggish game, and then Alexander Madison fumbles, and DeAndre Swift goes in for a touchdown. But bypassing the tie, the Lions go for 2 to take the lead, 17-16, and then Kirk Cousins drives down for a quick field goal drive, and Greg Joseph hits a long field goal. And once again, 19-17 dooms the Detroit Lions. They fall 0-5. The Vikings are resilient and improving as they improve to 2-3. And they continue to show some life. I mean, clearly they're better than what the record says. Same with the Lions. But nonetheless, while heartbreak for Detroit, Minnesota, they get their rush back. So then we get to Washington as the tale of the Saints offense and what they look like continues as the Saints here win 33-22. Jameis, he only completed 50% of his passes, but he had 4 touchdowns most notably a Hail Mary at the end of the half, which really got the momentum for the Saints. It was 13-13 and felt relatively similar, like a stalemate, but that pretty much opened it up. And Heineke, he made some error throws, made some mistakes, had a pick, most notably while he was trying to get out of the end zone. But you can clearly tell where the formula of the Saints offense lies. It's just about their defense now, which relatively stood tight against his Washington pass attack. Then, of course, people will be talking about the big comeback, which was tonight, Monday Night Football. But another stellar comeback was the Patriots as they came back from being down 22-9 against the Texans to ultimately win 25-22. Mac Jones had a stellar game. Davis Mills had a really good game as well, but ultimately the Patriots just wore on, and eventually they held tight. They had injuries, but kudos to the Patriots. Davis Mills again played a heck of a game, and it's just down to the Patriots getting it done. And Tom Brady still gets it done. So crazy. He's 44, but his team scored 45 points on Sunday as they trounced the Dolphins 45-17. Brady, another piece of history, his first 400-yard, 5-touchdown game. And it came against the Dolphins, his nemesis, pretty much with the Patriots. This time it was in Tampa, but still, heck of a showdown. Hopefully for the Dolphins, they get Tua back for London against Jags on Sunday, but we'll see. Another thing we'll have to see about is the kickers, the kicking game. We'll probably never see a game like this again, but the Packers, they beat the Bengals 25-22 in overtime. I mean, Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers both played very well, but at the end of the game, it was just came down to who could make a kick. I mean, so the Bengals were driving down, but McPherson missed what would have been a game-winning field goal. That's the first of it. He misses. Then Mason Crosby, after a big play, they're in Bengals territory. And set up for a game-winning field goal. He misses at the end of regulation. Play on to overtime. Joe Burrow, he throws a pick. It seemed like there was miscommunication. Crosby lines up for another what would be game-winning field goal. He misses again. So then Bengals drive down again. And McPherson, he thought he made it and probably wouldn't be able to do it if he tried again 100 times. He hit the flag on the goalpost, but it was out and he missed again. So then, once again, the Packers get the ball, drive down, and finally, Mason Crosby makes a game winning field goal. Oh boy, oh boy. That was a testament game, real testament. Not much to say there. Good news for Joe Burrow. He was taken to a local hospital for a throat injury or throat contusion. Luckily, he's okay. He was released from the hospital. We'll have to see how he is versus Detroit on Sunday. But at least good news for the Bengals. Then, speaking of good news for the Steelers. They get back to winning ways. In a much needed victory, they beat the Broncos at home 27-19. They lost Juju, but Roethlisberger with 2 big touchdowns to Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. Teddy Bridgewater, it was relatively stagnant. He did throw a late touchdown to Cortland Sutton, and they were driving down at the end of the game, but Bridgewater throws a bad throw and ultimately gets picked off instead of trying to tie the game. So there's that. And Pittsburgh stays home. And for next Sunday night against Seattle. Interesting. The Eagles, they came back to beat the Panthers 21-18. Speaking of stagnant, the Panthers offense felt strange against the Eagles. Darnold threw another few picks. I mean, it's just strange, but I don't expect them to continue it. Now, they host Minnesota next week, a very momentous Minnesota Vikings team, but they gotta quickly turn this around. Now, Christian McCaffrey, his status still in question, but yeah, they gotta turn around. As for the Eagles, good for them. They've looked relatively almost. Now, they did look inspiring for the Chiefs last week, but aside from week 1, they felt relatively out of ordinary, per se. And they were able to hang around and ultimately took the lead from the Panthers at the end. And Derrick Henry is still doing Derrick Henry things. The Titans trounced the Jaguars 37-19. Although Trevor Lawrence did his best to keep it interesting with the whole Urban Meyer distraction, they still played well, particularly Lawrence. Again, the development, and he improved. It's just that defense against Derrick Henry, just not there. What was not there was defense when it came to the Chargers and the Browns, as the Chargers beat the Browns 47-42. The Chargers, Justin Herbert, it's hard to say, but he's just playing great. Just great is Herbert. As the Browns are one of the best teams in the AFC and the NFL. And it was hard to pick this game, ultimately. But, you know, still, Baker Mayfield, despite the labrum injury, played a solid game. It's just the clock management at the end really did not go well. When Vizcaino missed the extra point, which would have tied it at 42, ultimately the Browns messed that up, but good for Chargers and good for Herbert. And then the Bears have life. The Bears have life. They are now 3-2 after beating the Raiders 20-9. I will not comment about the John Gruden stuff, but man, after 3-0, the Raiders just seem uninspired. But good for Justin Fields, good for, although it was scary a little bit in the game, but ultimately he was able to come back. And yeah, the Bears have life, and interesting to see how they go against a rival, the Packers, in Soldier Field. Be it the first, against the Browns, who are a big test, but I don't think he was really ready for that. Here against the Packers will be his first real test for Justin Fields. And then was a refresher of a game. The Cardinals beat the 49ers in Trey Lance's first start 17-10. Both offenses really didn't get going. Um, Trey Lance made some good stuff, made some good plays, but still the accuracy, and he still needs time. I will say that. He's a prodigy, not yet, but he'll get there. Talent is obviously there. And then Kyler Murray, just when they needed to, made some big plays to DeAndre Hopkins, and they stay undefeated, 5-0. And then the Cowboys trounce the Giants, and feel kind of bad for the Giants despite all the injuries. But good for Dak Prescott going back against the Giants nearly 1 year after his injury. And the Cowboys offense and the Cowboys as a whole are looking very, very good. Very, very good. I wouldn't necessarily call them the best team in the NFL, but I will say they're one of the best teams in the NFL. So hats off for the Cowboys. Giants, hopefully they can get healthy. They better, because they have the Rams next week. And then what I expected, but not expected, I picked the Bills to win against Chiefs. What I did not expect was the blowout fashion, which it happened 38-20. There was a lightning delay, weather delay, but that didn't affect the Bills. They still came out firing. And, you know, the Chiefs are the media darling of the NFL. That's just how it is. And from an unbiased opinion, because I like the players on the team, I like Mahomes, I like Kelsey, I like Hill, Honey Badger, Chris Jones, he needs to get healthy, etc. But they got problems, which some people will probably not express. But the Chiefs got problems. Their defense is bad. It is just very bad from the start of the season to now. They're almost averaging giving up 30 points a game. That's just not sustainable if you want to be where they have been the last few years, going to the Super Bowl and going to the AFC Championship. And the formula is out there to beat and suffocate the Chiefs' defense. You know, play with two high safeties. You know, make someone else beat you besides Kelsey and besides Hill. Don't surrender the big play. And that's pretty much simple. That's the way how it be on defense. Now, the other thing is the Bills, as far as Sunday night went, they have a very good offense. Josh Allen is an MVP candidate. He was second in the league last season, rightfully so. And this case, I wouldn't expect anything less for him to be in the MVP conversation again. So, with the right defense game plan, with a very good offense as well, it's pretty much key to beating the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs still have firepower, as we know, and we know that not every defense will probably be able to score as enough points to beat them because they're still going to be in it, and as far as the playoff position goes. But if the Chargers keep winning games, then it's going to be really hard for them to win the division. I'm willing to say that they'll probably have to be a wild card team at best for the Chiefs. That's just the way it is. And people will also be talking about the officiating, and the officiating was bad on Sunday night for both sides. There were both crucial calls that affected both sides of the coin. But nonetheless, great win for the Bills. They show what they're made of. Gregory Rousseau on defense has really added as the top pick for the Bills out of Miami, as well as Basham, etc. All those guys on the D line, whether it's Epinesa, Oliver, Lotulele, etc. But very good for the Bills. And then speaking of what just wrapped up, the Ravens, they came back from a 25-9 deficit in the fourth quarter to come back and score 22 unanswered points and take it away from the Indianapolis Colts. Now, it was not pretty. I think we can all agree for the Ravens side. Because going into the game, you heard about the rushing record, and you thought, okay, that'd be a nice little incentive to play better and make history for this game. Well, a little bit of history was made, but not exactly the same way as the Ravens made the comeback. But the Colts came up, showed up ready to play. Excuse me. Jonathan Taylor played his ass off. Carson Wentz played a great game. He did have that fumble inside the 10-yard line, I believe, but nonetheless, without Braden Smith and without Quentin Nelson on the O-line, but the Colts defense just got tired and they just got fatigued is what ultimately came it down to, and the Ravens just fresh picked them apart at the end and got the victory. I mean, yes, Colts so 1-4, but this is not the same team that started 0-3. I think that's safe to say. They are improving, they're showing progression, and especially on offense. So just have to see where it goes from here. They obviously have to pick up a number of wins to be in thick things, but with the way Houston and Jacksonville is going, and Tennessee, I like them a lot, but still, they're no top of the food chain, so we'll see. As far as the Ravens go, this was a much-needed win as well, because that division, the AFC North, is going to be tough, very tough. The Bengals, they kind of showed, despite the loss, they're in it, or they're going to be in it. The Browns are not the same old Browns, they're the new Browns. Pittsburgh, if they win against Seattle, they're right back at 500. So, we'll see where it goes, but good for Ravens. Good progression victory for the Colts, despite ultimately surrendering the victory in the overtime. So now let's get to week 6. 14 games played for week 6. 4 teams on a bye. The Saints and the 49ers are among the teams. So nonetheless, let's get into the predictions. So, week 6 starts off in Philly. Got the Buccaneers going to Philly. Buccaneers 7-point favorites. Tampa Bay, they're still dealing with injuries, but they still are churning it out and still getting it done. Still looking better as ever. The Eagles, they hung around against the Panthers, and they were able to grab the victory at the end. But and good for them. But Tampa Bay is a much better team. Now, they'll probably play down to their competition, but still nonetheless, I got Tampa Bay winning 28-20 in Philly. Although I think Philly can catch them a little bit, but Tampa Bay will come out with the victory. So then we're back in London next Sunday. Dolphins may get Tua back. We'll have to see. They face Jacksonville, and the Dolphins 3.5 point favorites. Now, it's been a few years, but the Jags have had success in London. Now, yes, Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer, this will be the first trip of them. So it's going to be a testament, but I have questions so about Miami's offense, whether with or without Tua, and they're favored, but I know there's the Urban Meyer stuff and whatnot, but I still think that I have more confidence in Jags offense the way I see. And if they keep running the ball with James Robinson and Carlos Hyde, then they'll still get it done. I'm still expecting a close one, so I'm going to go with the Jags. The Jaguars to get it done in London, 21-17 over the Dolphins. Next, we go to Washington. Washington hosts the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs coming off that deplorizing defeat in the rain against the Bills. Go to Maryland to play the Washington football team. Now, like I said earlier, the formula to beat the Chiefs is, two high safeties and make them earn it. Don't surrender the big play. And Washington has the defense to be able to do that. And Ron Rivera will obviously take note of the film and apply that to defense. As far as the offense is concerned, they're good and they have weapons. But I don't think still that Terrell Heineke, now he did score a couple of 30-point games, so that was against the Falcons and against the Giants. So, but I don't think against the Chiefs that this offense is going to be good enough to score against. So, I'm going to go with the Chiefs to get it done, although Washington covers 26-23, and they get it done somehow. So then the biggest line of next week, the Rams go to East Weatherford to play the Giants. Giants have a boatload of injuries. Saquon gonna be out. Daniel Jones, we'll have to see. King Galladay, Darius Slade, Sterling Shepard, etc. A lot of injuries. And, they gave him a fight last year, but that was the Jared Goff led Rams. And against these Rams here, it's going to be a difficult story. So I'm going to go with the Rams to still ride over and beat the Giants 31-16. They move to 5-1. Now that the Monday Night Football game is over, next we go to Indy. Short week. The Colts have to rebound to face the Texans. Short week after a long overtime defeat. Davis Mills played really good against the Patriots. 10 points, I think, is too much. Although I'm going to go with the Colts. I mean, they show improvement the last few weeks on offense, and I think that will continue. Although I don't think they'll cover. I'm still going with the Colts to win over this 23-21. Colts get the victory. Next, we move to Detroit. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, he got poked in the throat. See how that affects him going to Detroit. Detroit lost another gun-wrenching last-second field goal loss. This time in Minnesota. Now they go back home to welcome a hot Bengals team. Yes, they lost in overtime to the Packers, but I think they've shown that they're here. And, Detroit can be trouble. They fight hard for Dan Campbell. They got a good team. Better team than 0-5. But now they could get the upset. But I'm still going with the Bengals. I don't think it'll be 19-17 again. I got 24-23 Bengals. Get it done. So then we got interesting one. Packers renewing the biggest rivalry of the NFL history. Packers and Bears. Packers coming off that crazy overtime win in the jungle in Cincinnati. They go to Chicago playing Soldier Field against Justin Fields and the Bears. Packers 4.5-point favorites. I think it may be a bit much, but I do think the Bears can hang around, and I do think Justin Fields can make some plays, but I don't think he's there yet. So I'm going to go with the Packers to win 30-22. Again, Fields makes some plays, but not yet. Not there. So then we got my pick as game of the week. Presumably, Chargers go to Baltimore. They go, the Chargers and the white hot Chargers face the Ravens, who just won in overtime. You know, Chargers seem a bit more or getting more balance on offense. Justin Herbert is just playing out of his mind. Um, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, it's gonna be a fun game. Now, question is about the injuries. Ronnie Stanley, he's been out. Ben Cleveland, we saw go out. It's gonna be a question, but I just can't go with against Herbert right now, so I'm gonna go with Chargers. Get this one 33-30 in a high scoring affair. So I didn't check the line on this one, but Vikings go to Carolina. The Vikings are getting more and more momentum each week. There was that big win against Seattle, and then they lost against Cleveland, but that gutsy win against Detroit on Sunday. And the Panthers are reeling after starting 3-0. And right now, I just have more faith in the Vikings than the Panthers. So I'm going to go with the Vikings to get this on 23-20. Still a close one in Charlotte. And then what also could be a contender for game of the week, the 5-0 Arizona Cardinals go to Cleveland. The Browns 2.5-point favorites. Baker versus Kyler. They played Kyler's rookie year, and Kyler and the Cardinals got the better of them. And now again, it didn't look great for the Cardinals on Sunday, but they got it out and still got it done. Their defense won it for them, and they just got playmakers all over the board. Now, this is in Cleveland, and Browns are favored. So I'm just going off the line at this point, so I'm going to go with the Browns. Now, if the Cardinals prove me wrong, they prove me wrong, but I'm going to go with the Browns to get back on track because they can't get back to 500. They kind of need this. So, Browns get this done 29. Let's see, 2.5 points. So, 29-27. So, Cardinals cover, but Browns win. And then the new coach led Raiders go to the Broncos. Similarly, both these teams started off 3-0 and each have lost their last two games. So both are 3-2, both are reeling. This now with the news of the new coach and less than a week to get ready. Gotta go with the Broncos, get the sun in a ugly one, 20-14. So then we got America's team in a way for America's team. We got the Cowboys, the hot Cowboys going to New England to play the Patriots. Cowboys 4.5-point favorites. Patriots, again, Mac Jones is improving. Had that big comeback for the Texans on Sunday. Cowboys offense, though, is looking very good. Very good. Trayvon Diggs have a heck of a year so far. You know, I would like to pick the Patriots, but I know that with the way the Cowboys are going right now, I will not be burned twice, although I wouldn't mind being when I picked the Giants, so I'm going to go with the Cowboys to get this on 28-21. Or actually, since 4.5, so I'll go 28-23. Then Sunday Night Football. It's been a while since Sunday Night Football's been in Pittsburgh, but here we go. Seahawks going to Pittsburgh. Geno Smith starting at quarterback for the Seahawks. Steelers running off that joyful win against the Broncos on Sunday. Seahawks open up at 4.5-point favorites. You know, Najee Harris, he had his first big game as well for the Steelers. And the defense of the Seahawks. Now, Geno Smith played well when he came in, but with a week to prep for him, and with Najee Harris doing better, and Big Ben showed he can still do it. He can't carry the team, but if they can be balanced again, and because the defense of Seattle is not it's not great. You know, I do like Jamal Adams, I do like Carl Sona, but other than that, and Bobby Wagner, not a lot great. So I'm going with the Steelers to get this on, get back to 500. They win. Or actually, let's see. So I've changed my score. 26-22 for the Steelers. And then another interesting one for Monday Night Football. So the Red Hot Bills, they go to Tennessee. Now, this looks like it would be a much obvious win for Buffalo, but last year the Titans blew out the Bills. And the question will be the health status of the receivers for the Titans. You know, AJ Brown is back, but we'll have to see about Julio. They can give the Bills some trouble, but after that performance, it's going to be a while before I pick against the Bills. So, the Bills 5-point favorites, so I'm going to go with the Bills to win 31-26. Or no, wait, 31-27 for the Bills. And that wraps up my week 6 predictions. But anyway, thank you. I enjoyed this Sports Over Topics episode number 69. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I'll, of course, have my reviews on for later this week, as AEW Dynamite is on Saturday and Rampage is on Friday. But have them both for our latest week. And then next week, Sports Over Topics episode number 70. But nonetheless, thank you. Have a good week. Be safe. Peace.